Hi there, welcome again to BSF Recovery Team. Well, if you've noticed in our last few videos, we have taken our big monster Bobcat apart. Well, that's because it's in need of some drastic repair. And by the looks of it, when we get it apart, this isn't the first time it's needed this repair. But it's the first time that I've had to do it. Anyway, we need to replace some axle bearings. This is the axle out of this monster. And here's the hub off of the rear corner here. And we got a box of parts from Bobcat. Should we see what we got? Okay, we got a bunch of little boxes here. Should be some bearings and some races. And we got some O-rings, big O-ring, and some axle seals. Looks like we got what we need. Alright, give you a little history. This isn't your average Bobcat. This is an M970. It was built in the early 70s. Bobcat called it their Big Bob. It's a much larger than your normal average size Bobcat, and the parts are a lot heavier. Anyway, we're going to get things sorted out here so we can put things together. Meanwhile, you want to take a look at some footage that we shot while I was taking it apart? That is the problem. Outer bearing is gone. Supposed to be a big bearing here that holds that. So
now what do you have to do?
I have to take this plate off and loosen up the adjuster and take the chain off so we can take this whole hub off.
It fell on its own. I didn't touch it.
Ready? Somehow we gotta get this. There's no way. Oh, you got that one. Hell yeah. Both bearings are shot. Shitload of water. I'm going to soak with water. Ready? Oh. 1, 2, 3. Oh. That black boy's heavier than fuck.
Ew.
A lot of water came out of that bad boy.
Well, she had oil in it.
Yeah. Oil and water mixed. Here's one of the bearing rollers.
It's still good?
No. No, both bearings are toast.
What do you mean? Even in that one?
No, both. 2 bearings in this one.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
What are you doing now, hon?
Well, that's pretty sure that's the lock screw.
There's nothing left of it.
Big heavy parts. Well, I don't know about you, but I was kind of surprised that that little impact was able to take it apart. Anyway, while seat cover's digging all the rollers out of the bottom of the chain case from the old bearings, we're going to put the new races in the hub. And to do that, we broke out our race driver, and lo and behold, it's just barely big enough to do that. So, we'll put that together here. We'll see if we can pound some races in.
What are races?
The roller surface for the outside of the bearing.
Ah.
Sounds like it's there. Now we gotta flip this over and do the other side. Sounds like that one's bottomed out.
What does that mean?
Means it's in all the way. Now for the messy part. We get to pack the bearings.
I thought I was in the messy part.
A trick I've learned on packing bearings this big that's a little less messy is to put your needle on your grease gun, and then you can go in between each roller and fill it with grease. Until you see it come out the inside here. And then you know it's full. Now we can take the excess and wipe it onto the outside of the bearing. Now, this bearing actually goes in the outer hub first, and then the axle seal. And make sure we put the proper side out.
How can you tell which one's the proper side?
Well, usually it'll say air side, but in this case it's not marked. So if the shaft goes in that direction, then this side should be out. Now this part's kind of the reverse of what you would normally do. Normally you install the axle into the bearing in the hub. In this case, we put the hub and the bearing on the axle. And of course sometimes it's a tight fit and needs a little persuasion. Now we packed our other bearing. Now, another seal. And this is the retaining nut for our drive sprocket. But before we put that on, we're going to replace the O-ring that's in here. Looks like at some point in time somebody didn't have a new O-ring, so they put a bunch of silicone on it. Now to tighten that, we don't have a spanner wrench or socket to fit that, so we're going to cheat. And this part would get adjusted kind of like you would adjust the nut on a wheel bearing setup with a spindle. Tighten her up, spin it a little bit, tighten it up some more. That should do it. Now there's a little Allen screw that locks it on. There. One more O-ring seal to take care of. That's this big outer one here. Again, looks like somebody filled it with silicone. Probably because they didn't want to buy a new one. So we'll have seat cover dig all this silicone out. Here, sweetie, these might help. Well, it looks like Mara's got that all cleaned up nice. We're ready to put the O-ring in and hang it back on the Bobcat. But it's getting real late. Mara's tired. I am too. So we're going to call it quits for tonight. Thanks for watching BSF Recovery Team. Keep wheeling, stay safe, and maybe we'll see you out there in the woods.